Get your earballs ready. Welcome to the Gregg and Tim Show podcast. Take time to sit back and relax and enjoy the show. Here are your hosts, Gregg and Tim.
The Gregg and Tim Show. Hey, it's me this time. We're here. We're here for it. We're here for part
Welcome
two
to
today.
the Gregg and Tim Show.
Here for part two today. If you watched last week, if you haven't seen last week, go back and watch last week first.
Again.
Watch last week first, and then come back and watch this one because this is part two of the interview.
Or you can watch two and then one. It's up to you. It's a free
really
world
make a
here.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to watch one to know the other.
Yeah.
This isn't like what's it called? Avengers Endgame or whatever that was, right? So you can watch one after two or two after one, whichever, but make sure you watch one because one was great and two is even better.
Even better, yeah.
So if you don't know, we're interviewing a famous athlete. His name is Gregg Zaun. He played for the Blue Jays for a fair bit of time, won a World Series. He's going to give us some more insight into Florida, some other baseball stories and some things to laugh and enjoy.
A couple of controversial topics, but I thought they were a couple of interesting discussion pieces, and he got into them. I think more than the average interview. You kind of learned some stuff. We talked about some things in baseball. Some salary things, some things that are happening that are different now.
It's fun.
Some characters,
There's a lot of laughing.
Yeah.
So if you want, make sure that you click the share and the like and the subscribe button right after this or before this or right now. You can do it right now. And let's get you back to the Gregg Zaun interview. Here's part two.
Part two. Roll it. Grab your phone. It's podcast time. It's the Gregg and Tim Show. It's the Gregg and Tim Show.
It's Diamondbacks franchise. Runners take off, and Zaun's throw to third is in time, and they get the runner at third base. Boy, a huge break for the Brewers as Johnson is cut down at third base.
Did not get a very good jump off the bag, and Gregg Zaun, it looked as though Zaun didn't have a handle on the baseball initially right here. Took a while to get rid of it. Not a very good jump, but a perfect throw.
So speaking of pitchers, I want to get your insight on this. Who are the top three pitchers that you caught and what made them so good?
Kevin Brown had the best stuff I've ever seen. In fact, I've still never seen anybody in the game today with his stuff. They might throw a little harder, but when you compare him to his contemporaries, it wasn't even close. You literally were in awe when he pitched and gave up a hit, and you were even more in awe, like dumbfounded if somebody actually got barrel on it.
Yeah,
it was nasty. I mean, it was sinking at 97. He had a nasty slider. He started throwing this split finger action. He had the big turn. He threw real hard, and he was an on the day he pitched. One of the biggest nerds you ever meet in your life, Georgia Tech nerd, on the normal days when he wasn't, but he'd rip a television out of the ceiling.
Oh, jeez.
If he gave up a hit. That's how competitive that guy was. His stuff was off the charts.
Yeah.
So, and I would say I've never seen nastier stuff than him 96 to like 98, 99. It was insane.
Nice.
I mean, obviously, I got to throw Roy Halladay up there. Roy, he had a good two-seamer. It made his average curveball look really good because when the ball came out of his hand and it was at you, you were like, I hope that's not the two-seamer.
Yeah.
And it never was. A lot of people were afraid of him, but it never was. It was never. He would never miss that bad with the two-seamer unless he was actually trying to neckball you.
Did you call his game or did he call his game?
Roy called his own game. My job, I always tell people when I'm anecdotal about Roy, it was a mental day off for me because Roy was so well prepared.
Yeah, he's a student, right? He was a student of baseball. Like he literally studied it all the time.
But if you knew what to look for, and that's where catching him made it easy for me to hit him. I hit him hard after I left the Blue Jays, and he hated me for it. We were friendly, but I mean, even the outs were loud because he told you what he was going to try to do to you with the very first pitch that he threw to you. Roy was he was singular in focus.
Yeah.
And if he thought he was getting you out with two-seamer, you're getting it until you do something with it. And then then he'll go to plan B. And he didn't have plan C.
Okay.
And he also did not want me to move around behind the disc. He's like, this is where I want you sitting for my sinker. This is where I want you sitting for my cutter.
Yeah.
This is where I want you sitting for my curveball and my changeup. He goes, if I can't get it to you, I won't be in the game long enough for it to matter.
So he was basically like what Bassett's trying to do last year with calling his own. Like if there was PitchCom when Roy was around, he would have used PitchCom on his own, just like Bassett did last year.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. He would definitely not. He would definitely not let somebody from the dugout call the game, because I remember on multiple occasions Gibby went out to the mound to talk to him, and first thing he said to him was, "What are you doing out here?" Gibby was terrified of him. Gibby, I don't care. He won't admit it, but he was scared of Roy.
Gibby's a good guy though too. He's a guy that. Are you friends with Gibby still?
No.
No. I listen to some of the things he says, and I'm like, man, this guy would have been like a riot in the clubhouse. I don't know how players played with him, but he seems to have a lot of things come out of his mouth that are weird.
Yeah, not only the content, but the way he says it. I used to call him Sling Blade. The language that he spoke in interviews, I called Sling Box.
Well, everybody thought he was drinking in the clubhouse after the game because they couldn't. His podcast was brought to you by Bud Light, so
that dude knew how to stay in his lane. I'll say this, I would never accuse him of being Jim Leland as far as a strategist. I would have actually have paid to see that matchup managerially. That would have been one of the funniest things I've ever watched in my life.
He's with the Mets this year, so it'll be interesting to see him with one team that's not the Jays.
Yeah. Well, I just think it's funny, and like I said, he knew how to stay in his lane.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. He's an affable guy.
Yeah.
You know what? And it served him well.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome.
Very
Hey, we want to ask you a quick thing about the Dodgers, because I know that you only have a limited amount of time left here. The Dodgers thing that's going on right now with the whole contracts and the deferred contracts and everything like that. What so the question is, and I think I know your answer to this, but the question is, do you think it's right, and do you think that why aren't the other teams doing it?
Sure. Because the other teams aren't as smart as they are. And honestly, you're never going to convince me that all 30 teams are trying to win a championship.
Yeah.
My opinion, and you prove me wrong, is that unless you're owned by one guy, one family, that's going to get into a dick measuring contest with somebody at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
The Illiches, the Steinbrenners of the world, the O'Malleys. If your team is owned by a major corporation, they're not actually trying to win.
Yeah.
They are quite literally employing an algorithm that basically gives the impression that they're trying to win, that they're spending enough money to keep fan base engaged, to think that you're going to win, to think that you're going to try. I really felt bad, but I couldn't help but giggle a little bit when the Blue Jays fans got all geeked up about Ohtani.
Well, we were two of them, so yes.
I'm sorry that you guys got yourself all excited. I can tell you this:
we were tracking the plane.
Yeah, just like my daughter tracks Santa. And she just walked in. So let me tell you something. I'll get rid of the mystery for all Blue Jays fans.
Okay.
You are never going to sign a top 1, 2, or 3 free agent ever. And here's why. A, they can't pay him enough money. B, nobody wants to live there. Because what you do when you become a free agent and you sign that big deal, you put down roots in the community.
Yeah.
You spend money, you buy a big house, open a foundation. Trust me when I tell you, Nobody's signing up in that market to pay 51% of their income to the government of Ontario. And then
you moved out of Canada now, right?
The drama teacher as prime minister. Then we can move.
Oh, don't get us started on Trudeau. We can go for another hour.
But I think it sucks because you guys know I loved living there.
Yeah.
But I wasn't trying to navigate $100 million contract there.
Yeah. You were enjoying life in Toronto, probably at the lake and like all those kinds of things, right?
Yeah, I had a blast. I had an absolute blast. I mean, when I finally left there, I left a giant house in Mississauga right on the Credit River at probably the perfect off ramp from being away from the city. I was just far enough out of the city that I could still get there in 15 minutes, when I needed to. And I adored living there. Toronto used to be my favorite place on earth.
Yeah.
But you're never going to see a blue chip free agent sign there. It's just, it's financially reckless.
Yeah.
And unless the team has already won a championship or knocking on the door to win another one, there's no attraction to being there.
Yeah. So we
really have is develop from within and try to sprinkle in guys at the trade deadline.
So we have the exact same scenario here in Winnipeg with the NHL team, the Winnipeg Jets, where we're a small market team and we can't attract a lot of big name players.
Yeah.
And then we're just trying to draft and develop is the exact term we use here, and then sprinkle a few free agents at the end. And this year we're actually first or second overall in the league. So you're saying the Toronto Blue Jays have become a small market team in today's day and age?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, they've tried like hell to turn it into New York City when it was just fine the way it was, but they are a small market team because not only that, but the exchange rate makes them a small market team.
That's a tough thing right now. Yeah.
Up. They're earning in Canadian and paying in US.
Yeah, that sucks.
So until they develop the core, I mean, and then here's another one. Ask yourself this question: you don't think that they tried to lock Bichette and Junior up to extensions?
Yeah,
their agents should be laughed out of the union if they allowed them to do that. If I was their agent, I wouldn't give the Blue Jays 1 second of my free agency. I'll go year to year until it's my turn to make the decision.
Yeah, and Bichette signed a 3-year last year, so we got 3 years left of Bichette, and I think that he's gone after that. And we got 1 more year of arbitration after this year, I think, with Guerrero. And there's a lot of guys that just signed the 1 year this year, so the team will look very different in 2 years.
Yeah, it's just and it's not their fault. It really isn't. But
it's the economy and everything too.
It is, but when you go back and you look at baseball in general with the profit sharing, the luxury tax or thresholds and all that stuff, unless teams do smart and spend money on players, which a lot of them don't.
Yeah.
Especially the welfare babies at the other end of the spectrum, they just put the money in their pocket. They don't spend money on players. They don't get better, and that's been the biggest complaint about it for years. I'm like, there's an algorithm. Spend just enough to make it look like you're trying.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, raise the price of season tickets with the cost of living.
Do you think that the Major League Baseball is going to close that loophole that the Dodgers are using right now?
Well, they're going to try, but it's ridiculous. It's not.
It has to be a CBA thing, right?
Mad at somebody for being smarter than you.
Yeah. It's tough because obviously, like, LA doesn't have great taxes either. So, like, a guy like Shohei is going to play for, 7 years, 10 years, or whatever, and then he's going to move to Texas or Florida and then pay no taxes.
Exactly. And here's the other thing that the LA has that Toronto doesn't have, that Canada doesn't have: endorsements.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you got Nike.
And make money off the field or out of the studio. It's okay. Same thing with New York and Chicago. You're going to pay through the nose in New York and LA.
Yeah.
But you're also not going to leave the house for less than $25,000 to go do anything.
Yeah.
Right. So is it your opinion that the Ohtani camp used the Toronto Blue Jays?
Say that?
We had a discussion a couple of weeks ago on our show.
Did they use him?
Did they use him and have no intention?
Okay. They used everybody.
Yeah.
And this is just like the sign stealing thing.
They even used John Morosi.
They did. Well, whether he was used or not that's a story for him.
Yeah.
But agents do it. They pit one team against each other.
Yeah.
From day one, since they started this free agency thing, this journey that is free agency.
Yeah.
It's been going on since the dawn of time, and it's going to go on forever and ever, every single year. You push against this guy. You push against this guy. I did it. I was my own agent when I signed my big deal with the Jays, and I leveraged one team against the other.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to.
I think that the Dodgers are doing what they have to win a championship. But again, look at the Mets. Like you said last week, the Mets did it last year with Scherzer and Verlander. I don't think that the Dodgers really have anything proven yet. Like Yamamoto hasn't pitched a game in the major leagues.
Nope.
Hernandez, we know what he's like when he was with the Jays. He's hot and cold. And then you got a guy like Ohtani, who's a DH right now and isn't going to pitch maybe for another year. And if he does, who knows what he's going to do?
Yeah, here's a question for you, though, and you probably heard it asked. You may have asked it yourself. How on earth do you have the two best baseball players on the planet in your lineup, and you don't even make the playoffs?
With Trout and Ohtani.
With the Angels, yeah.
How on earth does that happen? So here's the thing. Am I convinced that either one of those guys is, good in the clubhouse, the team leader, a winner? Because clearly neither one of them have won diddly.
Yeah.
You got how many of the last 5 MVPs are those two guys? All of them?
Yeah.
We got robbed with the Guerrero versus Ohtani one. I think Guerrero should have won that one. He hasn't been great since, but I do think, me being a baseball fan in Canada,
he disagrees.
Obviously disagrees with me. But
I'm a practical guy. Like I literally, unless Ohtani is incarcerated. Some heinous crime. The fact that he's in a non-Tommy John year, the fact that the guy's an all-star on both sides of the ball, take away his pitching, he's an all-star bat.
Yeah.
And could probably play the hell out of like some first base or right field or something.
Yeah.
He's an athlete.
I watched the documentary on him. I think it's on Prime. And like the stuff that he went through, he spent a couple years in Japan before coming to the United States, because if he came to the major leagues when he did, they would have switched him to just a hitter or just a pitcher. But because he stayed in Japan, he was allowed to do both, and he developed both as a professional.
Yeah, just ask yourself this. If there was an expansion draft tomorrow and every player in the major leagues was eligible and Ohtani was healthy and pitching, who's the first pitcher in the draft?
Well, it's Ohtani. The question marks around him are how much was
that's why he's the MVP.
Yeah.
Hands down.
He's two players in one.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely he is.
Right.
You're paying $35 million for a hitter, $35 million for a pitcher.
The question mark around the question mark around Ohtani is the injuries that he sustained. Is it because that he's pitching and batting, and how much of a strain is that on his system, right? And how much is he going to be able to do both going forward, right?
The hitters in the National League all hit, or the pitchers all hit for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And just for some reason lately, and I have my very strong opinions about pitch counts and all this other stuff, you see more Tommy John surgeries than ever before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the hitters, the pitchers aren't hitting.
Yeah, there was something online I saw the other day that Major League Baseball has a problem because of the Tommy John surgeries. There's something different, right? And they've got to get to the bottom of these Tommy John surgeries.
Well, I have my opinions. I'll give them to you because that's why I'm here.
Go ahead.
One, I think guys throw enough. I think guys throw too little.
Mm-hmm.
Every pitch is max effort because they know they only got to go 5.
Yeah.
That's not the way you pitch.
Yeah.
The way you pitch. Bullpen guys are disposable. It's like a disposable razor. Shave it. You use it to shave real hard and then throw it away. That's why you can't. It's why you see more injuries at the amateur level in kids, because they're playing year round and they're playing competitive baseball year round. There's a different stress on an arm in a tournament than there is in a practice.
And that's why a guy like Greg Maddox could pitch so much, right? Because he wasn't going full tilt.
No, he never. He had the ability to run it up there 93, 94. Go back and look at the footage of him early in his career. But then all of a sudden he learned how to massage the ball. He learned how to put some slick stuff on it, make it move a little bit more.
That's a whole other rabbit trail you got there.
Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
Oh no, I definitely. You would have the insider. I can't.
All I can say is I got hit by something really slimy in my right eye after
from
one
Maddox.
of his changeups dropped 5 inch or dropped a foot and a half in the last 5 feet of the pitch.
Oh, that's an awesome story.
I got hit in the eye with some Vagisil or something. I don't know what Just saying. And then I'll go, and this will make watching old footage of him even more fun. Not just the highlights, the actual game footage.
Yeah.
There's 2 types of finger licks. There's I've got a dry mouth because I'm probably on amphetamines.
Okay.
And I'm licking my fingers like this. I'll do it from the side because you can see the depth. It's just one of these little quickies like that. Oh, just to get a little moisture.
Yeah.
And then there's I really got to make a pitch, and it's now I thought that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy. And then I remember because '97 we played the Braves in obviously in the NL East, and then in the championship. Well, my first wife, she got me thinking about it. I'm like, he's got something on the back of his tongue. I swear to God. Because like I said, I got hit with something slimy.
Yeah. And
it had to have come off the ball. I don't know, unless there's seagulls dropping petroleum-based lubricant from the sky. Something came off that ball and hit me in the eye. And so I remember later that winter, that's when I had an epiphany. My first wife, she was sick. She had the flu. And she put Vicks Vapor Rub on the back of her tongue.
Oh.
And I'm like, you're going to die. She's like, I'm not going to die. It's just Vicks Vapor Rub. She's like, you ever put Vaseline on your lips? I'm like, well, I don't make a habit of it, but yeah. Well, that's petroleum-based. The only difference between Vaseline and Vicks Vapor Rub is the menthol.
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap, she's not wrong. And then as soon as she said it, and I realized, I was like, that mother scratch got something in the back of his mouth.
She discovered the secret of Gregg Maddox.
Oh yeah, and then there's the old school.
Greg.
There's the old school way. I don't know if he was doing this or not, but you take ivory soap and you rub it on your white home pants.
Okay. Yep.
Lick your fingers, touch the ivory soap.
Yeah.
It's now slick. It looks like you wiped it off, but now you got soapy fingers.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little hidden. So we've got one last segment that we're doing with all of our guests, and it's something that we've done just when we're talking to each other. It's called This or That. You want to play?
Sure, why not? I don't know the rules, but let's do it anyway.
I'm gonna give you 2 things, and you have to pick this or that. And if you wanna elaborate at all, you can feel free, or you can just pick the answer. So I'm gonna give you 2 options, and then you just pick which one you like, which one you prefer best.
Okay.
Okay. So first, going to be an easy one here. Sandlot or Field of Dreams?
Not an easy one. I would say Sandlot.
Oh, yeah. Good. Second one, Fenway or Wrigley?
Oh, God. Jeez Louise. Fenway.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so this one, the next one's a 3-1. Player, broadcaster, or coach?
Player,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Steak and potatoes or pasta?
Steak and potatoes.
Nice.
Amen.
Arizona spring training or Florida spring training?
Arizona all the way. I only got 2 of them. Two of 22.
We're in Arizona.
My last 2 were in Arizona. It's not even close, guys.
Yeah,
really.
Well, we're going to the Florida one. So
why is Arizona much better?
Well, better weather, closer everybody's within an hour of each other travel-wise.
It's drier.
You can literally park your ass at a hotel in middle of Scottsdale and just commute to every single ballpark there is.
Well, we didn't think about that. we got an Airbnb in Tampa.
Well, you'll be fine if you're just going to stay kind of on the Gulf Coast. If you're not trying to go out to the east side.
We're doing 5 games on the Gulf Coast. We're going to do, and the furthest one is the new Baltimore park. That's, I apparently. No, not Baltimore. Is it Twins?
Pittsburgh.
Braves.
No, Pittsburgh's the old one. It's a Braves one. Yes.
Okay. Either way, we're doing 4 different ballparks, and then we're doing the Jays season opener in Tropicana.
Yeah, aren't the Braves are in Venice now?
Yeah, I liked it when they were in Orlando because it was close.
Yeah, I was there. I was at the Venice one last year, seeing some friends, and it's beautiful.
Yeah,
but yeah, in Tampa, you're fine. You'll be near the Orioles, the Braves, the Blue Jays, the Pirates, Yankees. Yeah. You got it all.
We're not going to the Yankees one because like tickets are like $75 American to go see Yankees spring training.
It's insane.
It's ridiculous. Okay, so we're halfway through here. This will be the last few here. These ones are getting easier. iPhone or Android?
Android.
Yeah, he's correct. Check mark there.
Hey, Tim didn't understand this one, but I'm going to ask you: golf or boxing?
Boxing.
Yeah, see, Tim didn't know you were a boxer, so that's something.
I was a really big, huge golf enthusiast. In fact, I live on a golf course. I have my own golf cart.
Yeah,
but I'm almost done with that game.
Yeah,
good Lord. And I don't so there's no reason for me to be out there if I can't play well.
So, if you had a choice, what would you call it? Rogers Center or Skydome?
Skydome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Worst ballpark: Tropicana or Oakland?
Oakland.
Oakland?
You're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Books or movies?
Movies.
Check mark.
Tropical vacation or European vacation?
European vacation.
Cool. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
That's the right answer.
Yeah, I don't know.
And this one, Tim thinks he knows the answer to this one, but I don't know if it's a clear-cut winner. Football or baseball?
Ooh, yeah, it's definitely baseball.
Oh,
yeah.
See? It's obvious.
I love watching football, but I didn't have a horse in the race for 25 years. Now that I got the ramps back, I'm good.
Yeah. And you followed the CFL for a little bit. We saw you on the Rod Peterson show and stuff like that, right?
I love the CFL.
The Bombers. You're a Bomber fan?
No. Riders.
Riders. Come on.
Okay, so there's a reason for that.
Okay.
First Grey Cup 2009, the infamous 13th man play with Montreal. I never even got to my seat. We walked into the stadium in Calgary. It was my first Grey Cup. I was boozing pretty good back then. And, me and my second wife were kind of on the out, so I had an ability to get out of town and go have a guy's vacation.
Yeah.
So Jamie Campbell takes me to Grey Cup, takes me to Calgary. We walked into the stadium and was immediately surrounded by Rider fans. I turn around, I see this like 6'6" green Gene Simmons dude.
Yeah, I know.
And I absolutely we just sat there surrounded by green, talking baseball all night long.
Nice.
And then they were winning, and it was the fourth quarter, like halfway through the fourth.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, hell, I'm not even going to see my seats. I'm going to go back to the hotel suite and get the beers cold.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be celebrating a Rider W.
Yeah.
13th man.
Penalty markers down all over the field.
Illegal substitution. Too many men on the field. Saskatchewan.
Oh, my.
That's a 10-yard penalty. We'll repeat. First down.
We were cheering hard over here.
Oh, we loved it.
Yeah, my Grey Cup wife is a huge Bombers fan. She is a Bombers fan. She's from Alberta, and I'm sure if you ever go to any of the Bomber games or anything, like you've probably seen her.
Okay.
And she is a notable character.
So we I know Greg goes to pretty much he has season tickets to the Bombers. Interestingly enough, story about Calgary. We went on our first trip together for the Grey Cup in Calgary a number of years ago. I think it was 5 years ago. 2019, and the Bombers hadn't won in 30 years. It was a huge drought. With 8-9 teams, it's like that's a long time. And we saw them beat Hamilton for the first Grey Cup in 30 years, and
that was the first trip we ever went on, and we didn't know each other until then.
Yeah, so that was in Calgary too. So we got memories also of that. But our team won that time. So the Roughriders who you choose, I think they've only won
four
Grey Cups in 150,000 years. So you pick a winner.
I just love it because it's like, I hosted Super Bowl party. I had a Super Bowl party, hosted one with Shannon Elizabeth, Rosario Dawson, Tara Reid, and me. We were the hosts.
So basically the Jay and Silent Bob crew.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And Zonnie. Jay and the not so silent Zonnie.
That's right.
And we had a blast. But the thing I love about the Grey Cup is it's so inclusive. Everybody goes.
Yeah.
Everybody's fans go. I mean, if you can't have fun at Spirit of Edmonton, you need to have your to have your chromosomes checked.
You're drinking at 9 a.m. there at Spirit of Edmonton.
Yeah. I mean, that was the milieu. That was the way it was. I don't know if I could go now that I don't drink anymore. I don't know if I could go to Grey Cup and have a good time. It probably wouldn't go.
But they're still
these guys were partying till about 3 a.m. I think the night before. I was in bed by 10. I'm not that kind of guy.
Yeah, and I don't drink.
I suppose I could go. I could just have a sarsaparilla instead of freaking 14 beers chased with a bottle of Tito. But we had the best Grey Cup parties. Our suite parties were legendary. In fact, the 2010 we went to Edmonton.
Yeah,
we had the presidential suite in the hotel where they held Spirit of Edmonton. So we had 2 kings, and then the middle there were 40 people doing jumping jacks in our suite at 4:00 in the morning. Starting it out, like we had everybody put their cell phone in a drawer. There was no social media, no flash photography. I had rules on the wall that said, no couples, no whining, no wine coolers, no this, no that. I mean,
so cell phones in the drawer, is that like keys in the fishbowl?
Well, yeah, because I didn't want anybody taking video or pictures of what was going on in the hotel.
Yeah, I guess that's true. This day and age with all the technology.
A lot of bad behavior.
Yeah.
A lot of bad behavior. Nobody needed anybody to get thrown under the bus.
No, Greg, that's awesome. We really appreciate all the time you're taking here with us, and we appreciate you jumping on this with us and being our first virtual interview. So this is awesome. We appreciate this.
Well, I had a good time. This was fun.
It's just guys talking. That's what we try to do, right?
That's all it is.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
We don't want to be like the stuffy garbage stuff that you watch on TV that nobody really cares about. We want to hear these stories. We want to get into the story about Grey Cup again later.
Oh, the Grey Cup stuff. Well, off the air, I could tell you what was going on. It was nuts. But it was just. But that was just the culture of Grey Cup. People came and got hammered and behaved poorly for 3 or 4 days, and then they all went home to their lives.
That is Grey Cup. He just encapsulated the whole thing very well.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Hey, that was part 2 of the interview. Tim, did you enjoy it just as much as part 1?
I loved it. Part 2 probably even a little bit more, but it was all great stuff. Like some of the
Grey Cup.
Yeah, some of the topics he was talking about. Yeah, he touched on the Grey Cup, but Trevor Bauer's stuff I found was interesting. Stuff that's happening with the Dodgers. He had some fresh intakes. I didn't like what he was talking about for the Jays.
Yeah, but the Grey Cup thing was awesome. The fact that he's an American and he likes the CFL as much as he does.
Well, he likes it more when there's 14 alcoholic beverages on the table, but
plus a bottle of Tito's.
Yeah,
but that's old Greg Zaun.
Yeah, it's old.
New Greg Zaun doesn't drink, so
it's kind of like the old Greg Stewart versus the new Greg Stewart too. So you're kind of the same boat.
Timothy is just full of the fun times today. But anyway, thanks for watching the show. If you didn't subscribe at the beginning, subscribe now. If you didn't like at the beginning, like now. And if you didn't share it at the beginning,
what's up with that? Why not?
Get on board and share it. I want to see this one go to the moon, as what's his name would say. What's that guy's name? Elon Musk.
Yeah.
To the moon, which I don't even know if that's real.
I don't know. Has anyone been to the moon?
We don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching the Greg and Tim Show again, and we'll see you again next week.
Thanks for watching the Greg and Tim Show podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with all your friends. Sharing is caring.